Let me just say, first of all, that we had a proper representation of a number of parents and students from the Frederick Smith Secondary School's upper fifth and lower fifth students this morning. There are some students who did not attend with their parents, and we're not sure the exact reason for their non-attendance, but I suspect it could be previous work commitments, and we will make accommodation for those students and parents who are not able to be facilitated here this morning. The session was addressed by the Assistant Commissioner of Police Boyce. It was addressed by members of the Ministry of Education, the principal as well. We also involved the church and discussion with parents and students about the tragedy which took place on Friday, and also indicated to them that there was counseling available for those persons who had not already taken advantage of the opportunity to do so. We had basically provided a team of counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. Even some of our guidance counselors have also been pulled from various institutions to assist their colleagues and the students with being able to get through this very difficult time. After each session since this incident took place, we have had to come back as a team with the professionals, with the unions, and with the teachers to be able to discuss the way forward. And in some cases, we've made some announcements in terms of how we wanted things to flow. Regrettably, because of the rawness of emotions and the difficulties that persons are having dealing with grief, because I think you would appreciate that people deal with the grief differently. Obviously, we are each day having to revisit how we proceed. It is a very delicate situation. Some persons are ready to return to school. Some persons are having some emotional difficulties also, going back into the same environment. And our counselors have been working with them to be able to get them to a position where they feel more comfortable going back into the school environment. As of right this minute, we are about to have a briefing with all of the counselors, the main team from the psychiatric hospital, the chairman of the board, the principal of the school, and our senior psychologists in the Ministry of Education and the ministry officials who are part of student support services, to look at the way forward. We've had the first discussion with all the persons who would have led the sessions with the individual students as well as the parents, and we are now in a position, I believe, to just come up with some ideas in terms of how do we move forward for next week. So I wanted to just really update you as to where we are in terms of the outcome of this morning. But I will come back to you shortly with respect to the way forward. Just to put on the table that some of the considerations, obviously, in terms of the return to school, we have to look at, obviously, the plant in terms of making sure everything is secure, and we've started to take those steps to ensure that the return to the premises are certainly more secure than they may have been, and to reassure persons in terms of the searches that will be done on site whenever school reopens. We have also had to address the issue of the counseling for a number of our young people and ongoing counseling. So we're looking at that in terms of how we can provide the best support on site while persons adjust as they start back their classes as well. We've been looking at things like the adjustment of the curriculum as well to make it more relevant to some of the students. And then we have some fifth form students who are obviously preparing for their examinations. So we are in discussions as to how is the best way to proceed to ensure that we are catering to the needs of all students as well as to the support staff and also to the teaching staff as well.
Has the ministry considered, because we spoke to some of these students earlier who are saying where this incident happened is literally where they go to classes every single day, and where they will have to be and they're not comfortable being there. Has the ministry considered perhaps transferring some students who are not able to return to the classroom in the next week?
We have not had any requests formally for transfers. What I will say is that, again, with grief, people go through highs and lows. And for the most part, there are some who have said that on Monday, and then they said it on Tuesday, and by Wednesday, they were saying something different. So every day, we are dealing with different emotions. And as I said, the professionals are guiding us in terms of what is best for the majority of the persons in terms of the return to school. With respect to the area where the young man died, yes, there are classrooms on that floor, and obviously it may be a concern in terms of students returning, and certainly teachers. There will be some emotions in terms of returning to the space. We have discussed with both parents and taken suggestions from persons, generally psychologists as well, in terms of doing a memorial of some sort for the young man in that area. But there are a number of things that are being considered, and like I said, we're trying to work together as a team with all of the stakeholders so that it's not a case of the ministry making decisions and then there's no consultation with the people who actually have to be in that environment.
Just as a follow-up, any idea or any plan to maybe close up that area temporarily?
Well, that is why we are meeting to do the debriefing each day, because like I said, what started off as very raw emotions each day with the counseling and the assistance of persons who are obviously very well trained has turned into a lessening of the raw emotion of going back to the school. So I believe it will take time, and we are willing to make the accommodations where possible. But I think that over time, as with any tragedy or any death, it will be a process of going back to the site and being able to acclimatize to the situation.
When you say professionals, who exactly are you meeting with?
We are meeting with the senior psychologists and the Student Support Services Department in the Ministry of Education. We have a team of psychologists from the psychiatric hospital as well, and we've also pulled together a team of the primary school counselors as well as the guidance counselors from across the various schools. There's also been some persons who have reached out who are equally qualified and trained who have also offered their support, and a number of persons from the churches have also come forward, and they are supporting all of the individuals here. Yeah, I would have spoken to this last year in relation to Alma Paris. The issue for Alma Paris is that the plant obviously had been left to deteriorate, and therefore it will require some funds to be able to retrofit in some cases and to get the plant operational. We have been looking at a phased approach because there's an old soft stone building on the premises, which we will have to address in terms of long-term issues that may result from mold and those environmental issues. And really we are considering utilizing the plant right now to be able to take some of the students. In terms of the way forward, obviously we don't have a number of buildings that are readily available to us, but certainly that plant, once we have the available resources, will be back up and operational in a short space of time. No, I think the need is greater than Frederick Smith. Frederick Smith School is right now on the radar, but a number of the issues that are confronting us are really across the educational system, and we need to ensure that we have that type of pullout that we can address some of the problems that are confronting the system.